Hello, it's Tommy from Eurovoxx. Well, the final of Pabandom is Naujo is coming up this Saturday, the 12th of February, and 8 acts are remaining in the competition to represent Lithuania in Eurovision 2022. I'm joined today by Gebrasy, who is one of the finalists, with his song Into Your Arms. Gebrasy, thanks for joining us today. How are you doing?
Hello, thank you for inviting me. I'm doing okay as you can be doing when you have so much work. So I'm hanging on, just performing, rehearsing, and trying my best.
Yeah, so actually that's an interesting point because I'm curious to know what is the process in these days that are leading up to these big finals? Because I know you've been here before, you've done it before. What is your process and how do you approach coming up to these big final performances?
Honestly, I don't really remember how I approached it last year. I think perhaps because last year we had slightly less time. There only was like a 6-day break before we had to film the final. This time we had a little bit more time, but our hands were slightly tied with what we could do after our semi-final performance. So basically what we could do was just rehearse and prepare as best as we can, and that's what I tried to do, and I hope that it will show up this Saturday.
So that's interesting. So in terms of last year versus this year, so obviously we were in a completely different world this time last year. So I think even last year some of your performances had to be pre-recorded. So you mentioned that you had a little bit more freedom to make some changes or something like this. So could you explain a little bit about what you've been able to have more freedom with this year and how it's been having the live shows instead of pre-recording?
Well, we have been pre-recording this year as well,
Ah,
so
really?
we
Okay.
have live shows at all. And if I could comment on it, I'd say that this year it's perhaps even more strict with the COVID guidelines. And basically, I had to start in week 3, and after my Saturday performance, I already had to film my semifinal on Monday. So the time slots that we had to prepare were just horribly too little. So everybody was on their toes, and not to mention the fact that everybody was getting sick. My backing vocalists changed every single week. I know that some of the artists went through COVID, and like it was hectic. I'm just happy that we as performers can still show up, pre-record something, and give the fan base a nice Saturday evening to watch.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. It's the next best thing for sure. And so, will the final be live on Saturday, or that will also be pre-recorded?
I don't know if this information is official. It was
Ah, okay.
planned. It was planned to be completely live, but I think that COVID really messed that one up as well. It's going to be pre-recorded slightly earlier, but it's going to be pre-recorded on a Saturday, the day that the final is going to be held. So it's going to be semi-live, and of course, after the winner is announced, there will be a completely live performance for the winner.
Ah, okay. Wonderful. Okay, so you still have that preparation to make, even just if it's a delayed recording. So that's quite exciting. So there's a hint of deja vu today because we were here this time last year talking probably in the same time period, a couple of days ahead of the final. And just to like cast our minds back, so you had like huge success with Where You Want to Go, finishing second overall. So you must have felt so proud after that achievement.
Yeah, I was very proud. I was very happy. It was the first time since my career as an artist that people really wanted to listen to me and wanted to hear more. So I was very happy. I was very glad with how everything turned out. I knew that people would just choose the route either way. It didn't matter with what song I came to the contest. It was pretty much clear. So me and my producer, I guess, celebrated the fact that we won what was what we were capable of winning, and that was the second place that year. And this year we came in with a lot more hopes towards this contest. But right now we're just trying to perform as best as we can. I know that I am not fully happy, especially with how my first week came out. My semifinal performance was a little bit better in that direction, but there were still some things that I really didn't like or enjoy how I performed. So I'm just hoping that everything will align for the final, and I don't know how everything will end, but I just want to be happy with what I did on the stage.
Okay. So you've had an opportunity to look back and identify opportunities for where you'd like to make some improvements, and so that's really great, and it's nice to have that opportunity, which is good. So I know in the past year you've been quite busy. You've been releasing new music. You had, I think, at least 2 singles that I'm aware of last year. We had Resolution, I believe, and Out of Love last October. So what was the reception like to those songs coming out? And did you have a greater fan base based on your success in Pabandom Naujo last year?
Well, yes, releasing music became a little bit easier because there were more people that were willing to listen to them. And of course, it was slightly easier to land on TV, easier to get interviews for promotion of those songs. So yeah, Where'd You Wanna Go really helped push that through. And this year there are more singles ahead, and I'm preparing for my very first solo album.
Oh wow, when is that coming out?
Well, in the music industry and with how everything is right now, I really don't have a date that is confirmed, but just to let everybody know that it's on its way.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so everybody keep an eye out for that. Do we have a working title already for your first solo album?
Actually, we are in the process of picking out the songs that we want to add to the album, so I think the title of the album is still a work in process.
Okay. So, well, everybody keep an eye out for that album coming soon from Gebrasy. So also, I wanted to ask you a little bit about the genesis of Into Your Arms, because I remember when we spoke before, you had kind of had some, I believe, songwriting camps ahead of Where Do You Want to Go. So what was your process in terms of regrouping after last year's contest, thinking about new songs, and I guess then where did Into Your Arms come from out of that scenario?
Well, Into Your Arms was written even earlier than Where Do You Wanna Go, so basically it was written very spontaneously. I was just chatting with one of my friends, and she said that she was going to try to write some music, and then I thought that perhaps I should too. So I sat in front of the piano, played some chords, found the melodies, and wrote the lyrics pretty much all in one go. And then I added all those backing vocals. Like there are 6 different voices in the song, and I had my first demo, and I thought that perhaps I would participate in Eurovision with it in 2021. But then I wrote a lot of songs for different artists, and Where Do You Wanna Go was one of them, and I didn't want to send that song to anybody else. So I decided to keep it, and I decided to participate in 2021 with Where Do You Wanna Go. And Into Your Arms was just waiting its turn for 2022.
Ah, wow, awesome. And it sounds like a very personal song, but I remember from our conversation last year that also you tend to have like just develop stories in your mind to kind of create a fictional scenario. But for this song, was it personal to you, or was it kind of more of a songwriting exercise and putting yourself in someone else's shoes?
It was a personal experience.
Ah, really? Okay. And I guess that helps with your connection to the song, especially when performing live. Would you say that that's the case?
Well, even if it's my personal story or not my personal story, I think that songs that I write, I can pretty much encompass them as best as I can, because I know that I still wrote them. And even if it's an imaginary story, imaginary scenario, there are still my feelings behind all of that music. So like, for example, Where Do You Wanna Go? Yes, it was a song that was relatable to driving, and I don't have my license. And yes, there was this whole romance aspect and breakup aspect to the song, but like I can still write a fictional scenario but still put the feelings like how I would feel in that situation. So I think there's a piece of me even in songs that are not like strictly written about me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. But it's always super interesting for me to hear what goes through the songwriter's head and how they approach this process. The creativity involved is really fascinating to me. So, yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I'm also curious about the last year, if you've been able to get back to some live performances. I know we've had so many restrictions in the last year, and I'm sure you really enjoy performing live in front of audiences. Have you had an opportunity to get back to that at all?
Yes, there were some live performances. Yes, I think a lot of live performances and a lot of venues hired artists that were supposed to have a good year in 2020, and everything was cancelled in 2020. So a lot of the artists in 2021 were usually hired that already had established careers from before and lost 40 to 50 shows that last year. And so as a new artist, it was not as simple landing gigs because nobody wanted to risk it all on somebody that is not yet that well known. So there were some live performances. Of course, COVID changed a lot of plans. There were a lot of cancelled performances. And I was just happy with everything that I could do. And a lot of people that came to those shows already spoiled themselves the album because we performed a lot of tracks that are going into that album. So when the album is out, they already will be able to sing the lyrics with me together. And
Wow.
and yeah, of course, you always want more. And I think that without the pandemic situation that was going on even to this year, I think we could have done a lot more. We had a lot of gigs planned in Vilnius and Kaunas, but we couldn't really do them because of cancellations, guidelines, and all of that. I just want to get back to a normal existence.
Yeah, I think we're all looking forward to that, and hopefully this year things are going in the right direction finally, and hopefully for good. So yeah, let's see how that works out. But I also know that you're a huge Eurovision fan. Would you say huge Eurovision fan?
I think I could say that I'm a huge Eurovision fan.
Yeah.
I know that I invested a lot of time into Eurovision. Right now I think that I'm not as such a huge fan that I was like 3 to 4 to 5 years ago when I had a lot more time to do that. I used to watch the rehearsals, I used to watch the interviews, I used to watch the pre-parties, but right now sometimes I don't even know which countries send what to the Eurovision, so sometimes I get a little bit late into the into the Eurovision hype train.
I see. Well, it's a huge amount to keep track of, for sure. I can identify with that. But I'm curious to know. I'm sure you watched the 2021 contest. I'm curious to know if you had any favorites that stuck out from last year.
Well, my personal favorites, and I knew that it wouldn't do well because it's Eurovision. Songs like that cannot do well in Eurovision. But I really liked Belgium's Hooverphonic. It was my favorite song that year because it's basically music that I really love to listen to. So I really appreciated that song. And like for other songs, I was happy that Måneskin, I don't know how to pronounce them. I was glad that they won because I really liked their performance. Their charisma shined through really well. And I think that they owned the stage and they pretty much they stood out in the year where a lot of songs were perhaps a little more ballady, or a lot of performers just brought a lot of dancers to the stage. There were like 10 performances that had 5 dancers just dancing around on the stage and nothing else in the performance. And basically they could do that because you didn't need to bring backing vocalists that year due to COVID guidelines. So since nobody needed to use backing vocalists in their performances, everybody brought their dance team. So a lot of performances just really mingled together for me. So if I should remember anybody else, well, I'd say I really liked Switzerland as well.
Yes, yeah, he did super well,
Oh,
obviously.
and Ukraine. Ukraine was great.
Yes, unforgettable, unforgettable. And I definitely agree with you with Belgium. That was completely a breath of fresh air in terms of just a little bit different and a different type of genre. And I could really appreciate the artistry and authenticity of that performance. It was very, very good. Okay, so with that said, I think it's a good time for us to take a clip of your song "Into Your Arms." So here is Gebrasy with "Into Your Arms." Okay, so don't forget to vote for Into Your Arms this weekend if you're located in Lithuania. So Gebrasy, I'm also curious to wonder if you follow any of the other national finals in the Baltic region, because it's a really strong region for national finals in terms of Estilal and Supernova. Do you keep up with any of those also?
Well, as I mentioned before, I didn't really have a lot of extra time, but I watched one video that was like 4 minutes long that summarized the Estonian selection, and I know that I really, really liked one song. I think it was called Golden Shores, if I remember correctly. I remember hearing it for the first time, and I really liked it. Wait, I can look this up. I have it somewhere near. Instrumental break.
Yeah. Everybody interested? Well, this is a good time for me to say, guys,
Yes, Golden Shores by Purmood and Shira. That's my song from Estonia this year. And yeah, I really liked it. I hope that they win. I don't know if they're going to win, because I really don't know who the favorite in Estonia is, but that track really spoke to me.
Awesome. Yeah, there's a lot to enjoy with this national selection season, and we're all very, very much looking forward to the final of Pabandom is Naujo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, by the way.
It would be Pabandom is Naujo.
Okay. Pabandom is Naujo.
Yeah.
Better? Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. So we'll all be tuning in on Saturday, so make sure you all get online and pay attention to the performances that are coming on Saturday night. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on our channel and hit the notification bell so you stay up to date with all of the Eurovision news that we'll be sending your way ahead of Eurovision 2022. And also don't forget to head over to our Instagram page and give us a follow so you can stay up to date with all the news that we're sending you there also. So Gebrasy, it was awesome to talk to you, and again, best of luck on Saturday. I will all be rooting for you, and any final thoughts from you?
Well, I just want to thank everybody that's been supporting me in 2021 and 2022. I hope that you like the performance, I hope that you like the music, and I hope that you are going to be excited for what's to come, and thank you everyone.
Very well said, and keep an eye out for your new solo album, which is coming very soon. I can't wait to see it. With that said, goodbye everybody.
Bye bye.